Jake Resio says, hey, Justin, can you explain staking? Is it a good idea or not? Kraken now allows you to stake your XTZ and promises an annual return of 6%. The limited reading I've done on it suggests it's an alternative to mining. Yeah, so staking is... this could be a long conversation, so we'll just keep it simple. There are several proposed ways to secure a distributed network, right? Such as a blockchain. And one of those methods is mining, right? Mining requires utilizing a lot of computational power to prove that you have done some work. It's called proof of work. And in the case of Bitcoin, for example, and Bitcoin forks, what you are doing with your computing power is you are running a SHA-256 algorithm. You are attempting to solve a complex mathematical puzzle that regenerates on every single block. So it's a new puzzle, every new block, and every computer that is mining Bitcoin around the world is attempting to solve this puzzle. And whichever computer solves the puzzle first can raise their hand and say, I solved the puzzle. Does everybody see I solved the puzzle? And then that message gets propagated. And then because they solved the puzzle, that miner has the right to cement the next block into the blockchain. The reward of this is that they get to write the Coinbase transaction. The Coinbase transaction is the first transaction on every single block. And what that transaction does is it mints new Bitcoin, essentially out of nowhere, into that miner's deposit address, into any address that that miner wants to write into the block. This is how new Bitcoin comes into creation. However, also there is the 20 million Bitcoin cap. So once it's coded into the Bitcoin protocol. So once we reach 20 million, there will be no more block rewards and miners will just be competing for transaction fees. There's a lot of math done on this. It's a very secure network. Bitcoin is the safest system that we have. It's been running strong for 10 years. The fact that the majority of Bitcoin hash rate runs on renewable energy really puts a lie that this is an unsustainable system. Security costs money, and we're talking about securing a global payment system and store of value. It's worth it. Staking, on the other hand, is an alternative to that. And staking says that instead of expending computational energy, we will allow, there's still computational energy, but far, far less. And to stake, which means you are now a validator, essentially. There's so many different iterations of proof of stake, and I'm not the foremost expert on this, but I'll just give you the knowledge that is best to my example. Staking is an alternative that says you are allowed to validate blocks if you stake, if you basically put up as collateral your funds. And you have to have a large amount to stake, right? So the more funds that you stake, the greater weight that you have, the greater right that you have to cement the next block to the chain. And if you cheat, if you attempt to cement a block that is incorrect, then you lose your stake. This is basically, it's Russian roulette, basically, where it's like, okay, we're going to put you in charge of the system, and if you cheat, we're going to shoot you. Or you lose all your money in this case. Maybe I'm being a little too aggressive with the shooting you thing, right? Then nobody's going to come to your house, but you lose your money, right? And so the logic behind this, and it's not unsound logic, the logic behind this is that individuals who have a lot of this cryptocurrency that they're staking have a vested interest in securing the health of the network, because if they do something that would jeopardize the system, then the market would panic and the value of their holdings would go down. So there is a financial incentive for them to play fair. It's the same. It's just a different type of game theoretics as opposed to Bitcoin, which imposes the same sort of game theoretics where if you attempt to cheat as a miner, then your block is invalidated by the network, and you have lost all the money it costs to mine that block, and you're kind of blacklisted from the network. Potentially. So it's just a different system. It's how new coins come into creation as well. If you stake, you receive the Coinbase transaction essentially. And this is all slightly technically different. I'm just explaining it kind of very simple in simple terms. But essentially with proof of work blockchains, Bitcoin in particular, and currently Ethereum, but Ethereum's transitioning to proof of stake, you expend computational energy to earn the right to mint the next block. In proof of stake, you vest, you stake, you put up your funds to be taken if you cheat to have the right to mint the next block, essentially, right? And there's different iterations of this. There's distributed proof of stake. There is raw proof of stake. There's all different kinds of methods of consensus, right? And yeah, I mean, there are coins that I stake, so I don't think that it's a bad idea. I mean, if you're going to hold a cryptocurrency, I've talked about Komodo for the very same reason. If you're going to hold a cryptocurrency that you are kind of fundamentally bullish on or that you view as an investment, I mean, why wouldn't you stake it? Why wouldn't you stake it? So I think that if you're going to hold XTZUSD, then it's a no-brainer to stake it. If you're going to hold a cryptocurrency and you can stake it, by all means stake it. There's a lot of resources out there on how to do it securely and safely. I always never advise keeping funds on an exchange because you don't know what those exchanges are doing with your funds. They're saying that they're staking for you, but are they trading your funds behind your back? They're really accumulating all of this, and you're really kind of allowing somebody to profit off your back. I always just go, we use, if you want a good VPS, I recommend Linode. There's not a link down in the description anymore, or there might be actually a link to Linode VPS down in the description below, but just go set up a hosted VPS, which is a virtual private server. Put your wallet on there and stake off of that VPS. You never have to touch it. This is how you can run a masternode. I run a few masternodes as well. It's what I recommend. If you're going to stake, do it on your own. Don't trust an exchange to do it for you. But if you're not going to do that and you're going to hold your funds on the exchange anyways, then yeah, it's a no-brainer.